I'm Sarah and we're talking horror icons. As we approach Halloween, I wanted to do a quick little video on some of my favorite horror villains. If you disagree with this list, which I'm 99% sure you will because I know it's whack, deal, because it's my list. I love all of them in their own ways, so it was really difficult to actually rank them, but I'm pretty comfortable with what I've got. Number 21, Dracula from Bram Stoker's Dracula. It felt wrong not to have him here, one of the OG Universal monsters, including the Wolfman, the Invisible Man, and Frankenstein's monster. Dracula defined a genre. He is the vampire, unless you want to say Nosferatu is, in which case, it's okay to be wrong. A lot of Trailblazer Gothic horror has been getting revived and readapted recently. There was a 2025 Dracula movie that came out somewhere in July. Did anyone see that? Because I didn't know it existed until now. Although there are a lot of remakes, I'd say we're doing pretty good on horror this year. Number 20, Norman Bates from Psycho. Another genre definer, these guys are on my list because I'm thankful for what their existence did to horror, not necessarily because I care about their character that much. Norman Bates and Psycho were the beginning of a whole new era of horror movies, defining what they are to us now. They have a whole little section at Universal Studios, and the actor is very disturbing. Trust me, I've met him.
Need a place to stay? What's your name?
I got a place.
Join us, but she's already stopped.
Oh, damn.
Number 19, Esther from Orphan. Quite honestly, she pisses me off, but I can't deny that she is super disturbing. Based on a real-life case, Orphan shows a family adopting a preteen girl as she starts to tear the family apart. Esther's character is just weird, and she was handled amazingly by her actress Isabelle Fuhrman, who was only 10 years old at the time of filming, which is a crazy thing to take on at that age. Nobody could have done this better than her. Number 18, Annie Wilkes from Misery. I think I watched Misery maybe once. I barely remember any of it, and I don't care too much for it, but she is on here for a reason. The whole crazed stalker thing is a very real problem, and she is an awesome depiction of that. Framed in a movie that restricts you and suffocates you in her house along with the protagonist, you can't help but feel helpless as you're forced to submit to her cruelty. Number 17, Jack Torrance from The Shining. I'll be honest, I don't know why The Shining is quite as popular as it is. I tried to read the book forever ago, but I was a teenager and it could not hold my attention. I'm sure it's probably better than I remember it. The movie was pretty good though. I like the idea of Jack Torrance as a character. I know it's somewhat cliche, but a character losing their mind as the movie goes on will always be a good template for horror. It's also more interesting because he was already a shitty person at the beginning of the movie, a recovering alcoholic who used to get drunk and hit his kid. We've seen that before. But he's truly depicted as a complex person who was put in the wrong place at the wrong time, along with his family. Number 16, Michael Myers from Halloween. He's called the Shape for a reason. Sick name. He's fully dehumanized and used just purely as a vessel for evil. There are a couple different explanations for his superhuman strength depending on if you're following the old sequels or the new ones, but honestly, I don't really care. I like him as something clouded in magical realism. He's not fully human, we don't know why, we accept it and move on. A relentless force purely bent on killing and nothing else is going to be scary no matter what. Number 15, Jason and Pamela Voorhees from Friday the 13th. Yes, I grouped them together, and what of it? If you never saw Friday the 13th, or honestly the first scene in Scream, then you may not know that Jason Voorhees was not the killer in the first movie. It's actually his mother, Pamela Voorhees, who is taking revenge on the camp counselors of Camp Crystal Lake for their negligence, which led to the death of her son, Jason. Jason doesn't become the killer till the second movie, and doesn't gain his famous hockey mask until the third. No matter what, he's still a staple to the horror genre, and I will not ignore the work that Miss Pamela Voorhees did to get him there. Number 14, Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. Yes, I know he sucks, and I know he's the worst, but shut up for a second. American Psycho is a bit of a fever dream, quite honestly. By the end, you truly can't tell what had actually happened and what had just happened in Bateman's head. While he is the protagonist, and he plays goofy in a way that you would usually find lovable, you can't help but not like him. And you're not supposed to. This movie is making fun of him, and that's why I like his character so much. He is truly loathable, but you can't stop from watching him hurt more and more people. He's fully entrenched in this idea that he's some kind of rich, badass, cool guy when he truly sucks, and the movie does not shy away from that. The point is to point and laugh at men like him, and if you think that's not the point, then know that it was directed by a woman, one who saw many men like Patrick Bateman. Number 13, Freddy Krueger from A Nightmare on Elm Street. Robert Englund, nobody could have done this role better than you. Freddy Krueger is one of the first more unique horror villains in slashers. Instead of chasing people around with a knife or a machete, he's got Wolverine hands and appears in your dreams. He's also got a sharp tongue, as in he makes a lot of quips. That's what makes him Freddy. Although he's also canonically I'll say, child lover, so that kinda sucks the fun out of his character. Number 12, Chucky from Child's Play. I was gonna put him lower on this list, but I realized that he does Freddy Krueger's whole thing better than he does. His design is instantly recognizable and very much adds to his whole witty character. Chucky and Annabelle are the scary dolls. Possessed by a quippy serial killer, Charles Lee Ray, Chucky packs quite a punch into his tiny little non-threatening body. The Child's Play series has kind of made its way into iconic queer media, which nobody saw coming when it first started, and the Chucky TV series adds a whole bunch of awesome commentary and kills to the franchise. Number 11, Slappy the Dummy from Goosebumps. I know this is a bit high for this fucker, but he is in my bones, and this is my list. I know I say everything scared me as a kid, but this thing haunted me from the second I read Night of the Living Dummy. As a kid and reading a Goosebumps book, you know it's gonna scare you, but you read it anyway. I couldn't go through the day without thinking about Slappy, let alone the nighttime. I always felt like he was behind me somehow. I couldn't ever bring myself to watch the TV show, where his design wasn't quite as scary as it is in the book/new movie version. Goosebumps is pivotal for young horror lovers, and Slappy is the face of it. Number 10, Hannibal Lecter from The Silence of the Lambs. Yuck, this guy creeps me out. The effectiveness of him as a horror villain is fascinating, seeing that we barely actually see him do anything. His sins are restricted to information we gain. We only really hear about most of the stuff he's done instead of witnessing it for ourselves. Although the plot of the movie is focused on chasing a different serial killer, Hannibal is the one that stands out and grosses you out because he eats people. And call me crazy, or maybe this has been discussed plenty of times and I'm behind, but his name rhyming perfectly with cannibal is part of the reason why I can't. He's also another horror villain that doesn't rely on brute strength. He is a genius, calculated and bloodthirsty. We'll pretend he doesn't care about anyone, because that's better than acknowledging his weird obsession with Clarice. Number 9, Jigsaw from Saw. I'm a hater of torture, corn, if you know what I mean. Films that are just gore for gore's sake. You will not see Art the Clown on this list, because I hate that fucker, and I hate Terrifier for that very reason. Saw has just enough story for me to like it for what it is. Yes, the traps are foul, but I still like the first couple anyway. The whole thing relies on the motivations and backstory of Jigsaw himself, or John Kramer. That's right, he's not the puppet, that's Billy the puppet. His cleverness and his actual genius are what make him fascinating, and he's purely human. He is just a person like everyone else, but he is a god within the boundaries of his games. Cool guy, unique series, but also very long series, but which series isn't now? Number 8, The Grabber from The Black Phone. Another gross one. The Black Phone doesn't really shy away from child exploitation and murder in the same way that a lot of other horror does. I talk about this a little more in detail in my Creepypastas video if you're interested. The entire movie, you root for the boy to escape, but you're shot down again and again as the grabber finds out his plans. He is a mentally unwell child predator, and it is reflected in his title. The movie wants you to repulse at him, and it proves true to that at every turn. The payoff for his vileness is all too sweet. Really good movie if you haven't seen it. Number 7, Ghostface from Scream. I love a horror movie villain name that's used as a title that gets passed from person to person rather than just referring to that character themselves. The thing about Ghostface is that you don't know who he or they are, but I'm just going to use he for now because I'm a misogynist. Ghostface can literally be anyone, all with different intentions. His design is uniquely simple, making it easy to pass the mask on. His knife wipe is scary and epic and iconic, although I believe they originally did it to deal with continuity issues with the blood. Scream is a revolutionary franchise, and Ghostface will always have a place within horror. Number 6, The Invisible Man from The Invisible Man 1933 and The Invisible Man 2020. Yeah, I mean both of them. They are very different in character, but I would still hold them at the same level. The original had innovative effects and a somewhat interesting plot. The guy that plays him at Universal is awesome. The 2020 movie is a harsh turn in tone and theme. It is stylistically sterile, and it focuses on the technology. The Invisible Man himself is relentless and cruel, and it's brutal to watch the protagonist struggle to prove his existence. It's hopeless in a way, and it has a great payoff to celebrate you sticking around for 2 hours of pure misery. Number 5, Sweeney Todd from Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. It's my list. The plot of this musical is strange, and I have no idea where the idea for that plot came from. Regardless, the whole killing people and cooking them into pies thing really does it for me, I won't lie. Horror theater is all too rare, and Sweeney Todd was a big step in the right direction. The music is really catchy, and Sweeney himself, or Benjamin Barker, is an awesome protagonist. His story is heartbreaking, and you can't help but root for him as he kills more and more. Big fan. Just rewatched it recently. That has not changed. Number 4, Red and the Tethered from Us. Jordan Peele is a modern revolutionary in horror. His movies always tend to blow up because of the careful thought and effort put into them. They always have something to say. Depending on who you ask, Us is his objectively scariest film. It is much more focused on outwardly being a horror rather than his other movies, which are kind of more of thrillers. Except for that one scene in Nope, that was awful. Red and the Tethered hop on to the whole doppelgangers are scary train and put it in high gear. Red and the Tethered are not only terrifying in the way they act and the environment they're filmed in, but their stories are also deep and upsetting. There's not much I can say about this one because I really don't want to spoil the movie, but I will tell you that their characters are a lot more than fear factor. Number 3, Carrie White from Carrie. Carrie White, my love? She is an incredibly sympathetic villain / protagonist. With the world that she was born into, she never really had a chance at a normal life. Her story is tragic, and her scale of carnage is huge. While the endings vary greatly depending on what version you're talking, it's always heartbreaking. You truly want her to get better, and her murder spree is distressingly understandable. She's not evil, but she's a product of her world. Number 2, Candyman from Candyman. I've talked about him before, and quite honestly, I can't shut up about him. As I said before, I love a character who is actually a title or moniker rather than just a person. If we're following the 2021 sequel canon instead of the original sequels, which we are, his character is uniquely tragic. I could talk about him for a lot longer, but I'd rather just offer you my Urban Legends video where I talk about him for arguably too long. Number 1, Pennywise from It. Shut up! I will say once more, my list. The embodiment of a fear of clowns, Pennywise is literally a cosmic horror. Ignoring the ending and how he's defeated, which is ridiculous in every version, he is still the most powerful being on this list, and he thrives on fear. He can transform into anything, and there's no way to escape him since most of the people he tortures are children who can't leave town. I'm not a huge Stephen King supporter, and honestly, I'm not a huge It supporter. I'm talking the book, I love the 2017 movie, but he is a perfectly frightening villain for leaving people feeling scared of the dark of their rooms at night. Unrelated, as always, don't believe everything you see on the internet, unless it's from me!